Hello and welcome to another episode of the Online Warriors podcast. I'm your host, Techtic, and I am joined by Nerdbomber. How's it going, Nerdbomber?
Hello, everybody. Hello.
How are you feeling this week?
Oh, rocking on.
I like it. I like a good rock on. You've been a big concert girly lately, so rock on is a very is the word apropos? Is that the word I'm looking for?
I think that works.
It's a very apropos statement for you to make. I'm trying to use highbrow words.
Would you say highfalutin?
Oh, yes, I would say highfalutin words. Thank you. The good callback. For the people that listen to our podcast, that was an excellent callback. Y'all know it. So we've got kind of an interesting show for you guys today. We've got a little bit of Taylor Swift news. We've got a little bit of Marvel news. And we have a little bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender news. And which one do you think we should get into first? First and foremost, do you want to get right into it, or do you have a little whistle wetting to do?
No, I can get right into it.
We can get right into it? Okay. Then we are just going to barrel on in. So the first one that I want to talk about is Wonder Man. First and foremost, are you familiar with Marvel's Wonder Man?
No, I kind of thought this was a non-superhero sort of just spin-off thing that had the Marvel name backing it. Am I wrong?
Well, it does have the Marvel name backing it, and it is a weird spin-off thing, but also it is a Marvel superhero. So let's get into the trailer. So the Wonder Man trailer shows a fun Hollywood-based kind of story about a fake superhero Wonder Man, where the lead is played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen, and he is going to be taking on the role of Simon Williams. And what's interesting about that is in the actual comic books, Wonder Man is Simon Williams. So I want to kind of put that note out there. Now, this looks like a fun story, and it gave me a really solid chuckle when we see Ben Kingsley in his acting role, and they made sure to do the callback when he was acting as a terrorist in Iron Man 3 as the Mandarin. First and foremost, I love that we're seeing the interconnectedness of the MCU in this thing, that it's not just going to be I know we got tired of everything being connected to everything in the MCU, but these kind of callbacks where they're just kind of a little chuckle and not critical to backstory, this is what I'm here for.
See, that kind of got lost on me altogether. And I think that goes to prove your point that there's too much happening in the MCU. I kind of wish that there wasn't a tie-in.
You forgot about the Mandarin?
Yeah, dude, there's so many different movies. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. All of the...
I'm not the biggest Iron Man fan in the universe. I know that's you. That's your bag.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. All of the Iron Man movies were formative for me. So they are burned into my retinas. So that's the first thing that I really liked. And what's really interesting about this is if you read the comics, Wonder Man gets his powers from Baron Zemo, and we've already been introduced to Baron Zemo, just very tertiarily in Civil War. So we can start to see that there's the backstory for him to get his powers, and that's gonna be fed to us in this series. It has to be, at least. All of the building blocks are there, so why wouldn't it happen? Now, my question to you, Nerdbomber, is would you be upset if this was more than just a cheeky little series, or...
Yeah, because I don't want that.
You don't want to tie into a superhero backstory?
Not at all. I think this seems really refreshing and seems like something that I would actually drive to the Disney Plus app on my TV to go watch. Whereas if they're okay, now this is part of the interconnected MCU and you have to remember this obscure tertiary character, I don't want that. This just seems like a fun concept on its own. Literally, if you showed me this trailer and you were this is not a Disney Plus, this is not a Marvel thing, this is just a fun show, I would be okay, bet. I want to watch this. As soon as you start layering in the fact that this is not just a fun standalone, almost a mocking thing, poking fun at the superhero movie industry, I don't want it. And I know there's that show, I want to say it was on HBO or something, maybe it was Apple, where it kind of was the same thing where they had a bunch of people, actors trying out for superhero roles, and it was the franchise or IP or something like that is what the show was called, and it didn't do well, and I think it got canceled after one season. That's still the concept that I want.
I don't think we're ever going to go away from that. Even like WandaVision has an angle and like was a soft release
Right.
to introducing her kids as
I
next
hear what you're
superhero.
saying, but like I just don't think this needs to be interconnected in the MCU. Like I think this could literally just be a standalone thing. Don't even make him like a real superhero. I just want to see like a cast. Like this trailer literally does not scream superhero anything to me. This would lead me to believe, if I didn't know better, if I didn't have you going in and doing the research, this would have me just believe it's about actors and the production behind superhero movies.
In a world full of superheroes, it does make sense that they make superhero movies, right? It's no different than a world full of like various patrolling roles like cops, that there's like, buddy cop movies and things like that. So it is not that different. I mean, even in The Boys, right? There was like the cinema series of all of the different superheroes. So it would make sense that this exists in this world. But the fact of the matter is his role is Simon Williams. And so I feel like it's going to be the director is going to be like, I'm really looking for a team of people to make anti-Avengers to take on the Avengers. That's what's going to happen.
Right. And that's what I'm saying, though. Like, the trailer does not give me that at all.
Oh, you're going to be given that.
No, but I guess that's my point, though, is like the trailer does not give me that. And I want what the trailer is offering and nothing more.
Yeah. Are you disenfranchised knowing the reality of how it's going to play out, or are you still going to give it a chance?
I mean, I might give it a chance, but I think I'm going to give it less of a chance. Like, I was way more on board before you did the research when I just watched the trailer and went in blind. I was like, okay, damn, Disney, you might have me here. I might actually watch one of your shows. And now that I actually know more about it, I'm like, I don't know, Disney, you might not get me here.
So for the listeners, by the way, Nerdbomber just put me on blast. I don't actually have all of the knowledge in my brain for anything comic book related. I do the research.
But I mean, that's because though you live in that world and you do kind of know the backstory, and then you just need to refresh yourself. Like, you know enough. So the difference between you and I and what makes you the comic book expert is I watch this trailer and I take it at face value for what it is. And I'm like, okay, this looks cool. And you're like, wait a minute. I know this is based on something, and I know this isn't what it appears. I can't remember what it is, but I'm going to look it up. And then that's where we, like, that's the difference between you and I.
I just wanted to, sometimes people's heroes fall, and
I don't
this
think
feels
that,
like
I didn't feel like that was painting you in a negative light. I think that, if anything, just makes you even more of the resident comic book expert because you're willing to do the deep due diligence.
Let me know how you guys feel about me.
I feel good.
At my Blue Sky handle, if you think I should have just had all this knowledge, or if you think
your brain is only so big. It's pretty big, but it's only so big. You can't fit the entire vastness of the MCU in that noggin.
So let us know if you want this to be tied in, or let us know if you don't want it to be tied in, or just a standalone fun superhero movie. I agree with you. I think a movie would be fantastic. It would be very, I think the term that the kids are using these days is meta, and I'm here for that.
That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted meta, tongue-in-cheek, and that's not what I'm going to get. And I'm so sad now that I know about it. So
the next topic that we're going to talk about is about Taylor Swift. Now, in the same vein of the Disneyification of things, Taylor Swift is joining the MCU. I'm just kidding. Taylor Swift is not joining the MCU. I want to be so clear about that.
You almost got him, though.
Yeah, I hope people are like, come on, because that would be bad. At least I think. She's so ungodly famous, and like that's kind of one of my talking points when we get there. But let me tell you what the news is first. So Taylor Swift is getting a 6-episode docuseries called Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, The End of an Era, which, like, first and foremost, they need to work on like their titling of these, because
I mean, hey, you know exactly what it is.
I mean, you do, but like I feel like it can have a little more pizzazz to it.
I think when you're
she's the queen of pizzazz. How do your title not have
right?
pizzazz?
But like when you're Taylor Swift, I feel like at a certain point you just don't need it. You're like, hey, this is exactly what I'm giving you. It's all in the name. Figure it out.
Nope, pizzazz everything. Anyway, this is a 6-episode docuseries showcasing the making and impact of her tour, and it will be coming to Disney Plus and releasing with a complimentary version of the Eras Tour film called, this is an update to the Eras Tour film, and it's called Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, The Final Show, which again, better titles, more pizzazz.
But no, it really is, though. She filmed the entire final show, which I believe was in Vancouver. And the reason why that is a big deal, so if nobody who is listening to this is a Swiftie, and maybe I'll fall from grace in your eyes, but you know what? I don't care. People can nerd out about what they want to nerd out about. I nerd out about so much. It is a tongue twister to say that phrase. I don't know why I keep trying to attempt it. But I think, the lore and the world of Taylor Swift is very cool. And if anything, I feel like I don't know why people hate, because this is the same thing that I feel about like the romantasy genre and a lot of like romance novels, and people are hating on those. But if it gets more people into the arts, whether that's books, music, what have you, digging into lyricism, digging into lore, using their brains, not just consuming media and checking out, that can't possibly be a bad thing. And I know there's a lot of like consumerism around Taylor Swift. That's a completely different story. There's so many different like special editions.
With her latest album, people are not digging into lyricism, or so I've heard.
Right.
So I've heard.
That notwithstanding, we can talk about that later. It's a whole other thing. But there was an entire album that she added partway through this tour. The Tortured Poets Department came out while she was on tour. Like, she released that in the middle of the Eras tour and added that to her set. And so when the movie came out, the movie version of the concert, those songs were not part of it, and there was a lot of production value added. So essentially, this is going to give you now the fully comprehensive final version of the Eras tour, which A, is just good for posterity. I feel like we lose a lot of things to time, whether it's video games, even TV shows. Like, if you go back 30, 40 years ago, there's not copies of literally everything. And so having a record of this groundbreaking, record-breaking tour, I think, is not a bad thing. But also, like, it's good to get those songs in for people who didn't get to go to the tour after they were added. And also, I feel like putting it on Disney Plus, a streaming service that a lot of people have, it is obviously not giving it to people for free because, again, you're paying for the subscription. But a lot of people could not afford to go to the concert. So updating it to include the entirety of it just gives people another way to watch it.
So you watched the original movie.
Right.
Are you going to rewatch the new movie? Actually, you've watched the original movie twice now.
I did. I put it on in the background a second time when it came out on Disney Plus. We went to like an event to see the first one, you and I and a friend, and it was quite good. And then it was just something, because like I like her music anyway, so it was kind of like, instead of throwing on the albums, why not just put it on the TV? Kind of like people put The Office on when you're doing random tasks around the house. Like, that's kind of how I watched it. So I would probably be open to doing the same thing with this. I'd want to see, like, I saw all the Tortured Poets Department stuff on like TikTok and whatnot, but like I would watch that segment just to see what it looks like in 4K high def.
You know what? I'd watch it too. I'd watch it with you, because that snake scene, by the way, in the movie, fantastic.
Got your I want to say panties in a bunch, but that's not the correct saying. But it got you a little randy.
Not Randy. Everyone needs to calm down. Now, I want to circle back to the docuseries, because we didn't really touch on what exactly that's covering beyond just the movie. So that's going to have showings of her friends, fellow collaborators. It's going to include cameos from people such as Gracie Abrams and Sabrina Carpenter. And the series is going to drop 2 episodes per week. And so over the course of December, it's just going to be inundated with a lot of Taylor Swift.
I know that probably will annoy the crap out of people. All of the football fans who hate Taylor Swift are probably like rolling over right now. But I think it's a good thing. Like, again, it's one of those milestone, touchstone cultural events that happened in the world. I
agree. I just prefer when series just do a one drop so you can binge.
We don't live in that world anymore. You and I do, because we will wait for the entire series to come out so we can binge it. But we don't live in that world anymore. Like, they do meet out episodes. That's kind of the standard now. I think Netflix might be the only one that kind of will throw an entire season of something up there. But almost every other service, it's 1 or 2 at a time. And I don't know. I think this will be interesting too. I'll watch this, especially seeing all of the additional work, like not even just her. We already know how much, physical training and stuff she had to do to put this show together. But I think what will be really cool about this is not just seeing the work that she put in, but really giving all of the other people who were involved in the Eras tour and putting this together, whether we're talking about the dancers or we're talking about, the sound techs, or we're talking about the people who put all of the stage presence together in location after location. I feel like those people are going to get their moment in this docuseries. I will be a little upset, actually, if they don't, because as much as I like Taylor Swift, I don't want it to just all be about her. I want to see all of those other people get their dues as well, because it's not a one-person show. Like, you think about the entire teams of people who go into putting this stuff together. Like, it's crazy. Even we've been going to a lot of concerts lately, and in between sets, you know, when you're going from like opener to opener and even opener to the main act, usually the main act already has some of their equipment and stuff on the stage and the openers have to work around it. But watching them scurry and get all of their instruments off stage, get all of their equipment off the stage in the span of maybe like 15 minutes, a team of people come out.
Oh yeah, shout out to the crew.
Yeah, like sometimes it's the band members themselves, but a lot of times it's the crew, and they do a really startlingly efficient job at doing all of that. And I just find that so fascinating. And so something on this scale, super curious to see what it's going to be.
Okay, so I got one more question for you, and then we're going to roll into our break. The article that we read, it really hung its hat on that this was a huge deal, that Disney paid to get Taylor Swift on this, and Taylor Swift really doesn't need the money. So my question to you is, do you think there's any risk with this partnership with Taylor Swift and Disney? With like, I mean, so the CEO of Disney has been in some negative spotlight. Do you think it was like, is worth it? Or do you think she should just said all the streaming services can have this?
So I think she already had a deal with Disney for the original Eras tour movie way back when. And even there was, I think, another documentary about one of her albums that came out on Disney Plus. She moved to Disney Plus because I want to say it was maybe Netflix she was partnering with initially. Like, they retain the rights. Like, she had to buy out the rights to her documentaries and her, you know, show footage. And I think the reason when she made the deal with Disney Plus for the original Eras tour movie and footage, like, baked into that contract, like, they were willing to give her full ownership and rights over all of that content. And so I think that's probably why she's there. Like, if you look at her entire history.
So it was about maintaining her own IP kind of a thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of been the story of her career. Even, like, really.
Actually makes a lot of sense. If
you look at the entire thing, and I don't want to say it resurrected her career because I don't think she ever truly went away, but the entire, like, Taylor's version, trying to re-record all of her tracks to get the rights to her songs back. Like, now she bought them. Like, she has all of the masters. So there's, like, the Taylor's version still exists, but you can listen to the original. She owns those too. And I think, like, that entire saga really show, like, she wants ownership of her IP. She wants ownership of her content. She's been a big proponent too of, you know, other artists trying to do the same thing. And I think it's just retaining ownership of your work, and people get behind that. And I think that's why she ended up on Disney Plus. Disney Plus, like you said, is in a whole other barrel of worms that probably isn't within the purview of this exact podcast to talk about. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's probably something she's thinking about. But I don't think, at the end of the day, like, as much as I do enjoy Taylor Swift as an artist, like, she is a billionaire and billionaires are going to billionaire. And if she can get a good deal and get money for her work and retain the rights to it, like, she's probably going to do that, you know?
I do. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. So do you have anything else to say on Taylor Swift?
I do not.
Okay, so with that, we're going to go into our break, but I would be absolutely remiss if we did not shout out our fantastic Patreon producer, Stephen Keller. Stephen, please take a bow. If you're sitting in your car or sitting at home listening to this, take a bow in your seat. Stephen has been a subscriber to us at the night level for quite a while now, and as such, he gets this weekly call out on the show. He also gets occasional guest spots on the show, access to our monthly vlogs and our secret segments, as well as voting on the topics that we talk about in those things. If you want to be as cool as Steven, head on over to patreon.com/onlinewarriorspodcast. You'll find 3 different tiers of support, and all 3 will get you different goodies while keeping the lights on here at Online Warrior Central. Once again, thank you to Steven, and now we're going to go into our break, and then we'll be back with the final piece of news.
I'm Ryan Fonzie.
This is Cameron Hagee.
My name is Tony Giggles.
And we're 3 dudes who love The Legend of Zelda and love talking about The Legend of Zelda.
And if you are a Zelda fan as much as we are, then come on down and listen to your heart's content.
we have a podcast that we'd like to share with you. It's called A for No, B for Yes. We cover the Legend of Zelda series, different games chapter by chapter, and we have all kinds of theories about what we see and what we've experienced in the game.
Do you go through Wikipedia and look up stuff based on the things you see in the game to create theories to how it could link to other things in the world that we actually live in, and not the Zelda one that was the one that was created by the people that are in the world that we actually live in right now? Because if you don't, then you should watch this, because we do.
Did you guys get all that? If not, oh, you didn't. Okay. So we are A for no, B for... All right, I'll stop.
All right, our last and final topic is about the Avatar. A game, Avatar Legends, the fighting game, was canceled last year and has now been brought back to life. And we were given a gameplay trailer. And I want to start by saying I hated this. I hated the trailer specifically. And I know this is going to sound bad, but because of that trailer, I wish the game stayed completely dead. And the reason why I'm saying this is because watching the combat in this, it directly contradicted all of the lore. And I think a fighting game based on the Avatar could be done. I'm not saying that it cannot be done, but all of the battles in the trailer made zero sense from a lore standpoint. I mean, even when it was like Aang versus Zuko, which is a fight that constantly happens in that story, they had him put on the blue mask, which is when he's in like the blue spirit form. And in that costume, he was an ally to Aang. So like, I need either like unique characters specific to Zuko in like the timeline when he's fighting Aang, or they just like, or something completely different. It was really the trailer that bothered me. And if they redid it completely where it was like linear with the story and you're staying true to the source material, I wouldn't be as upset about it. But that's not what was shown, and it made me very against this.
So hear me out. A lot of fighting games, I get that there's stories, but the majority of the fighting game sales and activity happens in multiplayer. Pretty much almost every fighting game is known for multiplayer. So is it not possible that all of these matchups that you hate so much are just showing multiplayer modes, and maybe those are just skins that you unlock?
It is entirely possible. And
so what's the problem? Sorry, I'm coming in hot.
No, because like if it's just generic fighting game, then the Avatar IP is just a money grab, and I don't like those.
Hear me out, right? So I'm playing, oh, shucks, I don't know. Give me literally any fighting game ever. There's been so many different...
Injustice.
Sure. You can literally have two characters who are on the same side of the fight fighting each other, and that goes against the lore. As soon as you get into multiplayer, it's whoever you pick. Literally, fighting games are just skins, and I think what makes this Avatar and not just random fighting games skinned.
I mean, Mortal Kombat, you're right. That's what it shows.
They're all like that. Like once you get into multiplayer, you can literally be anybody. And if you didn't have the ability to do that, you would not have the incentive to learn the movesets of every character. And I think what would set Avatar apart from a lot of these other fighting games is having the characters be so elementally like niched a little bit. Their skill sets are all very different. And so it's not like, okay, take your pick of 5 random dudes and they can all punch. But you know what I mean?
Here's the difference. The reason why everyone loves Mortal Kombat, for example,
is the gore,
not the lore. The reason why everyone loves Avatar: The Last Airbender is the lore. And
yeah, but again, though, like we saw the Invincible video game. They have a fighting game coming out. We talked about that on the show when they showed that. It was during, I think, maybe Summer Games Fest.
And I was mid on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just we don't like fighting games. That's not our bag.
I think a good fighting game is brutal. I mean, Invincible, I thought was good, like as far as like the animation, the fighting looks, because it's so unbelievably bloody. Like it is grotesque. And so like from a fighting mechanic, that looked good. But from a fighting standpoint, Aang is a pacifist as much as he can be. He never tries to like maim or hurt. He just tries to move out of the way to accomplish his main goal of bringing the 4 nations together.
Well, I mean, this game is not going to have you kill anybody or anything like that. Like, you're not going to have blood and guts.
Right.
It's just not going to be that serious. I think you want it to be Mortal Kombat. You have in your brain, I think, that every fighting game needs to be Mortal Kombat. And I think there's a slew of fighting games that have proven throughout history that they don't need to be like Mortal Kombat in order to succeed. Like, think about Street Fighter. Like, yeah, maybe there's some like blood spatters, but it's not like brutality.
I think the only place
Or
where
fatality,
where a
whatever.
game like this works, where you can play as the various characters and insert them into just a fighting mechanic, is if they were like guest stars in Super Smash Brothers, for example, because there's no real story. It's not a standalone game with that IP. But when you have an Avatar game and it's exclusively an Avatar game, I need that. Like, if they had Appa as like a person that can fight, would you be like, this is dumb? Or would you be like, hell yeah, let's
I would fight with Appa.
You're the worst.
I mean, I would probably not play a fighting game, period. Like, that's just not something I'm super interested in. But yeah, like if we had it, if in the 2 years that I still have Game Pass before I cancel my subscription, this game came to Game Pass and it was free, I would boot it up for like 15 minutes and just fuck around with Appa.
I just think some games are not meant for the fighting game space.
I do think that this IP is better leveraged in an adventure style, but they've tried that. Like, I believe that game was in the works. They announced it a while back, and we have not seen anything of that. I don't know if it was canceled. Someone can do the research and tell me and hit me up on Blue Sky and tell me if I'm wrong. But I'm like fairly certain there was supposed to be a 3D action adventure Avatar game, and that just never came to fruition. And I do think if you want to play through the lore and the story, that's the format you need to do it in. It just, let's be real, a 2D looking fighting game is going to be a lot cheaper than an expansive open world 3D action adventure game. It just is.
I don't disagree with you, but that's where my curmudgeons comes from. I have to put my illegal hat on and say, no, this isn't the right place for this style of game.
I mean, I hear you. I think just with the 20th anniversary, I believe it's this year, knocking down the door of Avatar, and there's no game really to speak of besides the mobile game, they probably just wanted something.
All right, fair enough. Well, this game is set to release summer 2026. Let us know if you're going to play this. Let us know if you agree with me or if you agree with Nerdbomber. But really, you agree with me.
They agree with me.
And feel free to reach out to us on Blue Sky. I am at techtic.bluesky.social.
I am at ownerdbomber.bsky.social.
And we are at onlinewarriors.bsky.social. Let us know and tell us we're wrong, because I'm fine with that. And with that, we are going to roll into our What Are You Up To Wednesday, and I'm going to start by kicking it over to Nerdbomber.
All right, so as you guys are probably aware, and I've waxed poetic about this series probably over the last 4 or 5 years, I finally got Techtic to read this series. I think I actually got Illegal to read this series. I got a decent amount of people to invest in the Murderbot series by Martha Wells, and we talked about how it was being adapted to a TV show by Apple TV Plus, and we finally watched it. And oh my goodness, guys, this is better than I expected. I'm not going to lie to you. When we saw the original trailer, I was a little on edge. I was like, the humor seems a little bit too raw. The design of the Murderbot, suit, I didn't love. I still don't love it, but weirdly, unlike in the books, the mask weirds me out a little bit, but he doesn't spend a lot of time with his mask up in this show. I think just so that you can, it's a little bit different when you're watching it. Like, I think if
the mask is a jarring choice because the books literally has a completely different mask on it, so they could have just used that.
That's fair, but I think what they wanted to do was really make Murderbot stand out from any other sec unit that they show throughout the show.
But all the other ones are a different color.
Not always.
Like, their armor is all like black, and he's got the white. He's like an Oreo. He's got the white and black swirl.
I don't know. I think it was just a way to differentiate him and really make him stand out. All that being said, I am really impressed with the way that they've adapted All Systems Red, which is the first book in the series and is what the first season of this show was based on. The camaraderie and the chemistry between the cast members is off the charts. I think they really did a good job casting, even outside of, Alexander Skarsgård for Murderbot himself. I think the rest of the crew is such an important part of the story.
I think they nailed Garathan.
Yeah,
specifically.
They did just a really good job of casting, because I think without that crew chemistry, Murderbot alone could not carry the entire series. I also think they did a really good job balancing the narrative in his head and the action on the screen, because obviously you're reading the book and the entire book is narrated from Murderbot's point of view. So everything is going to be his thoughts and in his head, and he's recalling action and stuff. But balancing that in a real-time TV show is a feat that they were able to pull off. Additionally, I think the CGI has looked pretty impressively good. I mean, it's Apple TV Plus, and they usually do pretty good job with production value in their shows, so that part I'm not super surprised about. But just everything about this, I also really love that every episode is like 23 to 28 minutes. There's really not a long episode in the bunch. It's, I believe, a 10 episode season 1. And there is something to be said for having these short episodes. I know a lot of the sci-fi and fantasy series, they kind of lean into having those like 45-minute to an hour-long episode. We're hearing Stranger Things. They just released a bunch of the times for the new season coming up. I don't think there's an episode of Stranger Things the last season that will be under like an hour and a half. And there is something to be said about these snappy 23-minute episodes. They feel like they go by in the blink of an eye, and they leave you wanting more. It's not like, oh my gosh, I have to sit through and make time for this super long episode. Yeah. It's like, oh, maybe I'll fit in a second one because I want to see what happens. It's been fantastic.
So I have a couple comments. First and foremost, yes, I agree. Alexander Skarsgård is perfect from the voice standpoint. I even picked up one of the Murderbot books and just kind of thumbed through it, and I hear his voice narrating it now. It fits very nicely. Even the casting, by the way, you also mentioned that was Dynamite. Even the casting for Sanctuary Moon, perfect.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, perfect. Sanctuary Moon, like they've nailed the whole like show within a show, because the entire shtick through Murderbot is that he watches TV shows in his spare time, and Sanctuary Moon is his favorite show. And not only is it really impressive the way that they kind of have the show within a show, but the cast that they got for Sanctuary Moon is incredible.
My only critique of this show, and I think it's really just specific to like the first couple of episodes, is when he was kind of like figuring out how to navigate without a governor module and like had his internal monologue. He's a highly sophisticated piece of technology that can think very, very fast. And so in the books, he was, at least in my head, significantly much better at masking his internal monologue relative to his external facial features. Whereas in this show, you can see the panic look and things like that I kind of wish aligned a little bit better to how I read it. That was my only critique. But as he like gets used to interacting with humans, kind of unfettered, so to speak, that kind of goes away. And now I have no notes. It's fantastic.
Well, I think too, the show kind of comes in at a slightly different point than the book does. And you read the book more recently than I did. In the book, I was under the impression that he had been hacked for a while. So he was able to adjust a little bit more easily when he was around the Preservation Alliance. I believe that's their name.
Yeah, Preservation Alliance.
When he was around that crew. Whereas I feel like in the show, it's kind of a little more recent. So he's still figuring out, like he hasn't been around people since he hacked his governor module. So he's trying to figure it out in real time. And like, I don't know, I didn't hate that. I would be awkward too if suddenly I had to learn how to people. I already am awkward.
Yeah,
are you kidding? Like I've been peopling for 30 plus years. I am still awkward, so I'll give him a pass.
Is that all you have to talk about on your What Are You Up To?
Yeah, for the most part. If you haven't read the books, I would say definitely read the books. If you have no interest in reading, at least check out the show. It's just so good. I cannot say enough good things about this entire series, whether it's the book itself or the show. I just think it's done so well. A+.
A+. Now, for myself, we watched How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version. And I gotta say, speaking of nailing casting, they also nailed the casting on this one. Like, they didn't try to word for word get an exact match. And
I mean, they did.
Except for his dad. It is literally...
Gerard Butler was the voice actor and the actor, which I thought was fantastic. No notes.
But, like, the kids that they picked for this, they fit perfectly in the role. And they kind of just copied the source material exactly. And that's kind of always how I feel they need to do it, usually. Lilo and Stitch is, in my opinion, a fantastic exception to that statement. And this was good. This was an absolutely fun time. The choice to not like super live action dragony Toothless was the right choice. It made sense and it fit very well. Whereas like there were some other dragons that looked straight up dragony, and that also worked. So they kind of did a careful thought on how they did every single dragon to make sure it works, and they nailed it. This was A+, fantastic in my book.
Yeah, I loved pretty much everything about this. I love that they had the original creators of How to Train Your Dragon as part of the live action process. I know a lot of people are like, why do you need to make it live action? But I do think there was something here, like, not saying that How to Train Your Dragon has faded into obscurity, because it certainly has not in terms of like the animated movie. But I think to introduce this to a new generation, I think
you're introducing this to an older gen. This felt more approachable for adults, in my opinion.
I mean,
this is
that's
like
fair.
a Viking dragon movie. Like, who's not to love it?
And I do think there was enough leg to stand on. Like, they did a really good job. Obviously, of course, yeah, dragons aren't real, so they had to CGI the dragons. But I think because, and I didn't really realize this, but so much of the story really is about the people. Like, obviously, yes, the bond between Hiccup and Toothless is the center point of the entire movie, but there's also just so much interpersonal relationship stuff happening here that a lot of it was just human to human interaction. So having it live action really didn't like feel weird at all.
Agreed. So that's the only thing that I had to talk about. What are you up to Wednesday? It's been kind of a slow, I mean, it's wintering, guys. We're kind of getting ready for hibernation season.
I mean, it was a slow news week too. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I was doing some scrounging when I was sourcing some.
I asked
some news
Nerdbomber
topics.
if she just wanted to interview me as part of the episode.
I said no.
She said I'm not interesting enough. And I said, what do you mean? I have a podcast. Come on, that's got to stand for something. Everyone's on podcasts these days.
I feel like at a certain point, that's just like podcastception. And then you'd have to interview me as a podcast interviewer. And then I'd have to interview you as the interviewer of a podcast.
That's a full show.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot happening. I don't know. Don't love it.
And that's why we always tell people to stay safe and keep on podcasting, because you never know what's going to happen.
You don't. It's dangerous out
here. It
here.
gets deep.
Yeah.
So that's our show. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, sorry, it's a little bit shorter this week. It was a light news week. We do our best out here, and we try not to give you stories that are just not super interesting. We try to give you what we believe to be the most interesting stories that have happened lately in our area, in our lives, and bring them to you. So I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and I want to sign off by saying, stay safe.
Keep on podcasting.
And keep on podcasting.
Keep on.